Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Rope Breaks. I am your host, Jacob King. This week, I have a very special interview with my good friend, Scott Bruce, the head booker of Houston's Renegade Wrestling Revolution. We sat down to talk about the genesis of the Vixens division, how the historic Rise of the Vixens event came to be, his plans for the future of the company, and so much more. Please like and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of our further interviews, and please enjoy my interview with Scott Bruce of Renegade Wrestling Revolution. How you doing, Scott?
I'm doing really good, man. How you doing?
Tired, but I'm doing well. So I'm glad we could finally get this up and running. It's good to hear from you again.
Yeah, it's been a hectic day, man. So, I know it's a little bit later than what you like to record, but got
Yeah,
some free time.
I think today was the first day I woke up earlier than 9 a.m. for the first time in 2 months. So I'm considering the fact that I'm awake right now some kind of quarantine record.
Yeah, I tell you, man, I don't blame you. I'm waking up about 9:30 every day, and I'm like, man, that's really nice.
Yeah, I'm not going to be looking forward at the end of summer whenever I have to go back to my shoot job and it's like 4 in the morning when I have to wake up to get there on time. So,
Oh,
yeah, but at least we can take a few minutes and take our minds off of that sort of stuff and talk about stuff that we actually care about, and that's wrestling.
yeah.
I just got finished watching Dynamite, so I'm in the mood definitely. Um, for the people who don't know who you are, because I know a lot of fans don't know how the behind the scenes really work, could you go ahead and introduce yourself for everybody?
Yeah, I'm Scott Bruce. I am one of the founders of RWR, along with Jeff Moore, aka Jimmy Nova, along with Jaime Martinez, Smart, and may he rest in peace. Um, James Tiny Moore, who who passed away last year, unfortunately.
Yeah, and RWR is the company that gave me my big break here in the local indie scene. So I'm forever indebted to all you guys. I've known about RWR for a little bit because I got into the business. I started training with the guys over at TASW, and I know there's been a lot of cooperation between you guys, and I know Pablo came to train with us a lot, and he was in the Memorial Battle Royal for Tiny last year. I remember that specifically.
Yeah, a little nitbit about Pablo. People don't know it. Pablo was one of the founders of RWR too.
Really?
We just that's a little nitbit we keep. But without Pablo, man, that a lot of what RWR is today, uh, it wouldn't be here. He was a big help. He has a really good mind for a lot of things that sometimes I don't have the mindset for, or Jaime or Jeff or Tiny did it. Pablo did. So Pablo is always going to be with us. He's always going to be one of the renegades.
Yeah, and Pablo's a good guy. He gave me my first fireman's carry whenever I was still trying to go. So I want to start the interview by talking a little bit about RWR because I think it's an interesting company and I like the mindset behind it. And you talked about the little tidbit of Pablo being involved and getting it up and running. Can you tell us a little bit about how RWR came to be and what you started out wanting to do whenever you came together to put the company in action?
Well, originally RWR, I don't know how many. Some people know it, some people don't. We were a podcast, Renegade Wrestling Radio. That's what we were. We were a podcast, and I was the final member of the group. And Jaime is the one that brought me in, and so I got real close to Tiny. I got close to Jeff. I got real close to Jaime. We became brothers. We became real close in many aspects of it. So um, we had started helping out another friend, another promotion, and it just, we were the ones fronting the bill for it, because the dude just didn't know what he was doing, and it was horrible. And so Tiny started taking the booking into his own hands and doing it his way. And we were still another name. So we had the idea of, you know what, we're just a podcast. Let's just take over. And so as a podcast, we took over this show. And, we took all the original name. We didn't put nothing to it of RWR yet. It was just, we were having fun, we were just four friends having fun at a show, that we were running pretty much. So we're going to do what we want too, not just giving really good matches, but we're going to give what we want to give. And on that show, you had Sam Shaw was involved in that show, who's now, I think, Dexter Limas in NXT. Him and, I forget his partner's name, can't remember it. But it was him and a partner versus Aiden Cristiano, and we won't mention the name of the other partner.
Okay.
And it was a really good match, So we knew Tiny knew the booking, and we all knew that we liked what we loved wrestling, And I come from a background with it, so so it was just kind of, well, let's see what happens, So one day we were doing the podcast, and we were just like, man, I don't like how this is getting booked. Yeah, me neither. Let's just figure something out. And so we just sat there, and I said the idea, what about, trying to do a show? And we just had no clue what we were doing, and talked about it one time, nothing. And then Tiny brings it up, you know what? Let's run our own damn shows. And right there, we all agreed, because it was Tiny. Tiny was our heart and soul always. So when he said it, we knew we wanted to do it. So we decided what we're going to do. We're going to do it. We got to go big. We can't be small. We got to do something big. So then we were thinking about what to do, what would be the big thing. So, all right. So EC3 at that time was huge. We got in contact with him and through a buddy of ours, Jason Cook, and Jason got us in contact with EC3. And next thing you know, we agreed. Not having anything else, not having a venue, not having a company name yet, not having an opponent. Well, we had the opponent. We knew the opponent would be Aiden Cristiano. That was a given. But we had nothing else. We had EC3 and his opponent. We had nothing else. So we sat there and we decided what we were going to call it. And I looked at what we were with RWR, Renegade Wrestling Radio. And so it got bounced around, and it was at first, no, it's called something else. And then finally, I talked with Tiny by myself, and I said, look, Renegade Wrestling Revolution. And it took me a minute to sell him on it, and the selling point was, we're going to be a revolution in wrestling. We're going to do things different. We're going to be a hybrid. We're going to combine the lucha and everything else around, what we see in pro wrestling, American style, lucha, high flying, ground tactics, everything. And, it was kind of a tough sell, but finally it sold. And come January of that year I think it was 2015, if I'm correct, RWR had its first official show. And it was at Atlantico Hall on the north side of Houston on Berry Road. And it was crazy.
Yeah. And, you talk about that blending of all the different styles that are so prevalent, especially in Texas wrestling. Like Texas as a territory right now has this amazing blend of, you've got the lucha style, you've got the influence of, everybody who's gone off overseas and come back with like that Bushiroad strong style. You've got technical wrestlers, you've got high flyers, you've got just about every type of style that you could possibly want in professional wrestling right here in Texas. You talked about how Tiny had an idea as far as how he wanted to book these shows. Like, what was the mindset behind the booking in the early days of RWR? What was it that you wanted to really put across as your vision for professional wrestling?
The original plan, okay, and this is the one I tell everybody. We were actually a one show promotion. We had said one show, and that was it. And it was, to book Lowrider, Brian Keith, Jonathan Vega, Chino, who else on that show? Sid Sexy, Jimmy Nova to have his match there. Ivory Robin, Claudia. We were booking people we were close to at the time that we knew were friends of the podcast, and that was the original idea. It was gonna be a one time show because what we're trying to do is we want to show that Aiden Cristiano is what we all see he is, and what people say it now. He's the best kept secret in Texas, and I want to say it. We knew that before anybody else did. And we heard that from EC3 as well, that he, right away, when he knew, when that match was played, EC3 knew that this guy wasn't your normal indie guy. This guy was legit. And, we did that match, and it was amazing. So the original concept of it was one show, get the match, and, we're going to book the friend of the podcast, So you could call it kind of like a buddy show, pretty much. And we didn't think we were going to be successful. We didn't think, we hoped we were. We prayed about it, and here we are. 5 years later, and RWR is still there. And the concept was always to give something that you are not going to see anywhere else. Give that in-your-face, high-paced action. Let you see what we're doing, that we're different. And that's the reason why we try to do things differently. And that was Tiny's vision, just to be different, not to be like everybody else. And that's where, that's where we come into it. And we do blend those styles, And our biggest division for the beginning of it was our junior heavyweights. You had guys like Brendy's that I get in there who, may God rest his soul, was, the best cruiserweight high flyer in Texas. And him and Estrella Galactica, tore the house down. They made that division, And Jonathan Vega was the first champion, and he carried that division for a good while before Brendy's dethroned him. So, we wanted the focus to be on different divisions and to let people see, hey, you know what, this is going to be this. We're not going to tell you what you're going to do. We're going to tell you, you're going to tell us what you want. It was free range. So we pretty much just gave as you say, the inmates the key to the asylum. We gave them the key and said, have fun. And you've been back there. You've heard me talk to everybody. That's my biggest thing. Be safe, have fun.
Yeah, and I think it resulted in some of the best shows that you could hope to see in the Houston market, because, like you said, you are giving so much freedom to the performers and these workers to go out there and show the crowd what they're not going to get with another particular independent promotion. And I know that we're kind of blessed as wrestling fans right now to have so many wonderful independent wrestling promotions all across the United States and across the world that can showcase, like, not every indie promotion is going to look exactly the same. And I think that it's a testament to that mindset that you have allowed these workers to go out and put together their best vision of what they think professional wrestling is. I think that that's one of the things that attracts me to RWR as a company. One of the things, because I was first introduced to the company by Jaime. I met him at a event in January down in Dickinson, Texas, and he was kind of telling me what the promotion is about and what you wanted to do for the next event that was coming up was Rise of the Vixens. And I had never seen anyone as excited and hyped to put on a show as Jaime was for Rise of the Vixens. Let's talk a little bit.
You want to talk about Rise of the Vixens? Thank you. Rise of the Vixens was. Okay, Rise of Vixens for me was a 5-year struggle. I wanted to do Rise of the Vixen from the very beginning. I wanted an all ladies event, and that was my goal. I wanted an all ladies event because I could see that so many of these women who were coming into the business, it wasn't like you're seeing them like, how you see on WWE. We see them in NXT, then they go into the main roster, and a lot of us say they got watered down. And, we see these great girls that are here in the indies, and they're doing stuff that men are doing. And, they're giving you great matches, and you're like, man, I want to do that. So, Robin was our very first champion. Robin and Haiyan had the match for it. And, as soon as Robin got the title, I started pushing. I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's do Rise of the Vic. No. And Tiny would shut me down. He was the booker, and out of respect, I would throw my tongue over my shoulder and call it a day. And I could never get anybody on my side for it, for a bit. And finally, Tiny started giving in to me a little bit on it. Haiyan was our champion, and he started giving in to me a little bit on it, because he saw them do this crazy match that we did, and it was a scramble match, but it was fully timed, and you had to go the entire length of the match, and whoever had the most pinfalls when it was done, whoever was announced champion at that time was champion. Well, it happened to be Haiyan. And so he gave in a little bit on that and was like, well, let's think about it. Well, then once Thunder Rosa got the title, it was, okay, we can kind of think about this a little bit. But the big one was Alejandro the Lion. When Alejandro got that title, he was kind of asking about it. He goes, so you think that would be a good idea? And I'm like, I think it would if we booked it right. And, we had talked about it. And the last match he saw of an RWR Vixens match was Thunder Rosa versus Haiyan, and Thunder Rosa becoming champion. He passed away shortly after. But it came down to me and Jeff and Jaime talking about it. And I wanted it. I knew it would be something big, and I convinced Jeff. And, it all started turning with Alejandra. And then here comes Rachel Rose. And as soon as that was there, it was, okay, now we have another building block. We need one. We need something else. We need another one. Well, then let's insert Rok-C. That was the other one. And then Insidious. So with our 4 pillars of that division, we knew right there we had something special. So the idea came up. I actually got with Aiden on it, and we had made a card. Well, when we decided, yeah, we're doing it, let's go, the card changed. Lowrider, we were bringing Diamante, and Lowrider wanted to work Diamante. So, okay, you know what? Let's be the different promotion. Let's not just do it all ladies. Let's change it up a little bit. Let's tweak it. So you got an intergender match, which you get those normally. So how do you tweak it again? Lucha Extrema. Sarika, the Queen of Extreme versus Super Oprah. And that match spoke for itself. And then the Fusion Division match with Malia J, who is up and coming, and I'm proud she's in the Vixens division, versus Jason Knight. Great match. So everything started blending that night, and we literally saw magic happen. It was magic in every match. And, you saw I was there. I got emotional talking to everybody because it was finally a vision that I fought for so long, and that, when Tiny finally said, yeah, we'll do it, I lost my brother. I lost my big brother. So when I lost him, I kind of lost my love a little bit for the business, But somehow that Rise of the Vixens event just stayed in the back of my mind. I knew that's what I wanted to do. And, and I still tell Jeff and Hyman, thank you for putting up with me. And all the stress that went into putting that show together. But it was 100% worth it, man. I mean, I know we had a great crowd. That's the night you debuted with RWR,
Yeah.
and that
So it's always
man,
gonna
I am
it's always gonna have a
so
special
happy you're
place in
with
my
us.
heart for sure. And I know, you talked about how, all of this coming together and all of the names that you just listed. You talk about Rachel Rose, Rok-C, Insidious, Malia, Diamante, everyone that got brought in for that card. There's a part of me that understands that, that battle that you fought to put that card together, it happened exactly the way that it needed to go off the way that it did. There was something really special about the way that card came together. And talking to people after the show, it was really great to see how much they had embraced what you guys had done to put that card together, how impressed they were with the way that the matches played out, how impressed they were with all the participants in the matches. I think I know one of my friends who I've known since high school, who had never been to a live wrestling show. That was his first wrestling show, and he walked away from that. He brought his wife and daughter, and they walked away. His daughter is now a huge Insidious mark. So,
Oh, awesome.
I mean, those are the moments that I think really make. Those are the pro wrestling stories that I love to hear about. And so, knowing that it was
You
such a
know, I'm going to cut you off. There's actually two other names that are actually very important into the Vixens division, and not just Claudia Solis and Robin and Hyan, but you know, Robin was our inaugural champion, and she was a fantastic champion. And Robin's always been one of the nicest people around, and she's amazing.
yeah.
But the two that I have to put a thank you out there for, because at one point, I'll be honest, one of our shows, somebody got tiny and said, "Hey, let me bring in these two girls from out of town, nicest girls you'd ever meet, great to party with." Match was horrible, and it was bad. And but what had happened was, uh, I started talking with Aiden, and I was like, "Man, I want to bring back women's wrestling, but there's someone that I want and that we need." And he was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, we hadn't called it the Vixens division yet. It was just the women's division. It wasn't called Vixens." And I was like, "Well, I'm thinking of something." And I had just seen Christy James.
Mhm.
So I contacted her, and she said, "Okay, well, who am I working?" And I remember I said, "You give me a couple days, and I'll let you know." "Yeah, sure." So I get online and started thinking, who could I have her work? And one of the people that I'm very close to, a really good friend, is Miranda Alizé. I started messaging her and messaging her, and at first it was no, please, no, please, no. Then I started calling her. Then I had Aiden do it. Finally, she agreed and came in. And when she came in, I had one of the people I'm closest to is one of my friends. I knew the Vixens division was born that very day, and that's the first time we called the Vixens division was on that match. We said this is the debut of the Vixens division, and you know, right after that, I remember we had a big surprise for the crowd. No one knew what the surprise was. We were bringing in a major female name, and that name happened to Mia Yim, and it was just Mia Yim and Jessica James tore the house down on their match, and Miranda got involved at the end, and sadly, Mia Yim versus Miranda Alizé never came to fruition. Wanted so bad. It was just the worst thing in wrestling, man, is timing. Because
Yeah.
you want to do something, but sometimes timing happens. And I think she had gotten injured, and I was just like, damn, So we had to continuously just try and try. But you know, I give a lot of love and respect to Miranda Alizé and Christy James, because the Vixens division, brought it back when even I thought it was done, But Robin was the first one to put the weight of it on her shoulders and carry it. So, those pretty much were the ones that brought it into that fruition, and Hyan as well. So but and I'll always be thankful to them. But like I said, my main four pillars are the ones that I know are building that division to be the strongest women's division in Texas.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at the Vixens division through its inception up till this point, it's basically a who's who of the best of the women's talent in Texas. You couldn't ask for a better group of women as far as work rate, talent, character work, all of it. You've got some of the best. Like whenever I talked to Rachel in the first episode of this interview series, I talked to her about, I don't think there's a stronger character worker out there right now. And then you mentioned people like Miranda is one of the strongest lucha style competitors in women's wrestling. Christie's amazing. I mean, the list goes on and on of all the people that you have associated with this division, and it's a nice mix of veterans and up and coming young talent. You mentioned we brought in Malia for Rise of the Vixens. You've got people like Jenna Lynn, who is one of my favorite people in the world, and I'm hoping to have her on for an interview sometime soon. It's really just as far as if I look at any division and any independent company across the United States, you really can't ask for a stronger division than the Vixens division, and it's come together incredibly well.
Yeah, it really has, and I couldn't ask for a greater group, a greater division that I have. And that's the division that I was given, because I fought for it.
Hey, sorry, you're breaking up a little bit there, Scott. Yeah, hold on.
There.
Yeah, I can hear you. You're just a little choppy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm happy to say that Rise of Vixens 2 is coming in the future.
Yeah, I know a lot of people immediately following the event were asking, when are we going to do another one? And I think it would be insanity not to plan for a Rise of the Vixens too.
Yeah, it would be. And so, I'll say it right now. We've already discussed it. We've talked about it. Yeah, there is a Rise of Vixens 2. Sadly, like everybody else, COVID-19 put a damper on it. We had to calm our plans. As soon as we start getting everything going again, I can promise you there will be a Rise of the Vixens too. We're gonna, and it's gonna be hard to outdo.
Yeah, I know trying to top the original is going to be it's not an easy task because that card was so stacked from top to bottom. You had, like I said, some of the best talent in the Texas independent scene working that one card. Obviously, I think that any match that you put Rachel in at this point is going to be a money match because whether you love her or hate her, people come out to see her. So you talked about her being one of the pillars of the Vixens division. I think that that's something that you've got on your side there. Oh, you popped up.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
Oh,
I think so too. I really do, and I think there's a lot that we can still do with the Vixens division. There's a lot of firsts that we can do. There's a lot of ideas being processed, but at the end of the day, it's just gonna be, what's gonna be that awe, what's gonna be that shock factor, because yeah, I mean, it's gonna be hard to top the first one. That was special, man. I know I told you and I told people that night there was magic in the air. There was something special that happened, and I've only said that one other time. Well, two other times. That was the first show, and that was Tiny's memorial show. So I know I haven't told no one this one, but I know Tiny had his hand to make sure that everything went the way it did. I know he gave his blessing on that show, and I'm really glad he did. That to me is everything. That in spirit he was there, and that he gave his blessing on it, and that everyone was still today. You're still hearing about Rise of the Vixen.
yeah.
So
Well, I mean, even if we ran a full year's worth of shows, it would be one of those that's in a contender for, everyone's favorite show of the year, just because there was something special about it. There was something that really made it stand out amongst all the other shows that were running at the time. So, we talked about there's going to be a Renegade too. That's a given. What else are you looking forward to bringing to RWR in the future once everything gets back up and running? What excites you about the future of RWR?
Oh, well, I'm going to put a cheap plug in on this one. Like, let me know that Brutalia Belts makes the RWR titles. All of our belts are Brutalia Belts, as well as Hurricane has Brutalia Belts, ROW, New Texas, Heavy Metal, Texas Wrestling, TWE. They have Brutalia Belts. The thing that kind of excites me is the relaunch of the Fusion division and bringing it together with junior heavyweights. So it was kind of a no-brainer to, we got to do something special for the Fusion division too. So there's a new title, and yeah, it's gorgeous, just like all the other ones. So that's one thing that excites me. Who's going to be the Fusion champ? Who's going to be the one that takes that title first? I'm excited to see what the future of Texas wrestling, these new up-and-comers that are fresh out, that are hungry, that are starving, to see what they got and what they're going to do. So that excites me. Man, there's so much that I would love to do and love to have happen, but it's really hard because we don't know when we're going to be back up and running. Like many other promotions, we don't know when we're going to be back, but we will be back. There's not a and if or but about it. It's just like everyone's saying, when. I wish I had the answer, but I don't.
Yeah. I mean, but at this point, it's kind of like Schrodinger's box. We don't know what's in it. We don't know what to expect. All we know is that there's something in there. And given the crazy ideas you've come up with in the past, I think that we can all agree that whatever does happen, it's going to be something worth watching. I know we've been bouncing ideas back and forth as far as like what do you want to see on a card? What matches are you excited for? And I don't want to give anything away because we got to start hyping things up whenever it's time. But are there any dream matches that you want to see under an RWR banner? Maybe something that's just kicking around in the back of your head.
Man, there's a lot of them actually. There is a lot of them. Mr. Studtacular, Bryson Scott versus Aiden Cristiano is one. I'd say Lowrider and like Fuego del Sol. Jake Sirius and Fuego del Sol. Brian Keith, Steve DeMarco.
Yeah.
Man, see, there's so many, man, that I'd love to. I would love to have. I mean, so many great talent I'd love to bring in. And that we will bring in. I'm like, I know Barrett Brown, someone I would love to bring in. I've spoken to him. Just like I say, timing is an enemy.
Yeah.
So that's one. There's great talent in Dallas that I'd love to bring in. Especially up there with Lou Gotti. Speaking of Lou Gotti, a match I'd love to see with Lou Gotti would have to be probably Lou Gotti versus Estrella Galactica.
That's such an interesting blend of styles. I would love to see something like that happen, maybe even under the auspices of the Fusion division.
Yeah. I mean, we have beef with DFW. They've invaded us, and then, we got lucky, and we won that one. They stole our title. They stole the junior title that we had it originally, and, Galactica made his way up there representing RWR, and he represented Texas All-Star Wrestling as well, and he brought the title back home, brought it back. So, Estrella Galactica, man, anything you put him in is a great match. Aiden Cristiano, the same thing. Probably a tag match I'd love to see would be La Familia versus maybe Isaiah James and Shawn Hendricks, Legion.
That would be an interesting one.
Just a little bit different. And for Rachel Rose, let's see, my Vixens division. See, I don't want to say anything about the Vixens division because I have all these plans, and a lot of these plans are already going, and the wheels are in motion on these. And like I say again, COVID-19 put a halt on it.
Yeah.
But these plans, and some of them. I know we've talked personally, and we know what some of these are. But it's just great ideas. Now you see, there is one thing I'll say: Rachel Rose, she's the queen of the Renegades. She's our queen. But in Alabama, you got La Reina Renegada. So if I have to say a match right now that I'd love to have happen in RWR, I want to see the Queen versus the Queen. Let's see who is the Queen of the Renegade. Amber Rodriguez and Rachel Rose. Would be a great.
That's a money match right there.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that one.
Yeah, I would love to see Miranda Alizé and Rok-C or Rachel Rose or Insidious. Let me see. There's just so much great talent, man. It's hard to pick from. Texas right now, we're in a boom of talent.
Yeah. If there's one thing this conversation has confirmed, it's that we have like an embarrassment of riches whenever it comes to the talent pool. And you and I have had this conversation before about how sometimes you don't want a show to go too long. You don't want to have one of those 19-hour WrestleMania kind of things. But in order to fit all the amazing talent that you have in Texas, you would have to have a 24-hour show. Have a button-a-thon of a wrestling show.
If not more. And I know I'm missing a lot of great names out there, I know I am, and Nate Slater, who's a great worker too. It's just so hard because there's such great talent out there. And speaking of talent, I'm gonna say this, and this is more of a personal note. The lover boy, Nate Andrews.
Oh, Nate Andrews.
He is so, people don't see how good he really is. Nate Andrews is amazing. Same with Jordan Jensen. He's amazing. There's great talent, and that's just two that I can think of off the top of my head, why aren't, those guys are great talents, We've had Jordan with us a couple of times, and man, Jordan, oh man, he puts on some great matches, and you got, same thing with Nate Andrews, the lover boy. The current Renegade champion. He's God, man. He's great. He really is. That saying, and the saying is great, sexy love. Truthfully, they are. They're all great. The main two, Nate Andrews and Steve DeMarco, are amazing. The great ones, they're damn good.
When I talked to Steve a few weeks ago, I told him it's hard to go to a promotion in Texas and not see somebody affiliated with GSL at this point because they curate really good, strong talent.
Everybody Santiago, another one who's great.
Yeah. Scotty's the one that I see the most. Like he pops up everywhere because that guy just wants to work and he's good. The great ones are probably one of my favorite tag teams working right now.
Talking about Scotty, this is a little different. I know Scotty. We're bringing Scotty here soon. Scotty's going to be in RWR. It's time. But talk about a match I really want to see. It's a dream match, and it's a junior heavyweight match. That match would honestly have to consist of Stray Galactica, Nate Andrews, because the matches they've had in the past are amazing. And if I want to throw one more into that mix, I'm always looking for that one star who can go in there and work with them. I can throw Barrett Brown in there. That match right there, that match is amazing. But
yeah,
you can go one up that. Ricky Starks.
Yeah. Ricky's great. I don't know Ricky too well. I've run into him at a couple of different shows, and he's always come across as one of those guys who he works really hard, and he always puts on a great show, and he's always been one of the most polite people that I've ever run into, which is kind of contrary to the character that I know of Ricky Starks. But he always puts on a good show, and he's one of those guys who represents Texas wrestling really, really well.
Yeah. You look at the people that we've had with us. I said such as Dexter Limas, who's been with us, EC3. We've had Ray Rowe with us, Mia Yim. We've had Sammy Guevara, Lowrider, Wheezy Woo, Miranda Alizé, Christy James, Aiden Cristiano, who has made his debut in CMLL a while back. Gino has been with us, MLW. It's amazing, the talent that is in Texas that you see where they're at now. And it's just amazing, because it shocks me because people look at California and New York and other places like, oh yeah, that's where the main talent is. I'm going to tell you right now, man, it really isn't. The big talent, the best talent, honestly, comes out of Texas.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what Texas has produced, and by far, I feel like we have the best track record. All the people who make waves elsewhere, they go up to Illinois or St. Louis or whatever, but they start out here. You talk about talent like Hion's one of them who betrayed her Texas roots and got herself banned from Texas. Heading off to Chicago. Kylie Ray's another. Then you've got people like Ricky Starks and Gino who are going off and making big splashes. Texas is it is the most solid territory as far as producing capable talent, and the fact that we have access to that talent and get to see them on a regular basis, it's really a blessing. It really is.
Yeah, it is. And I'm excited to see this future. Like I said, what's the future of Texas wrestling going to hold? And that's the point of the Fusion Division. When the Fusion Division was first brought up, it was between me, Kevin Bearhart, and Booker T. And it was, we want to give students a place to come and work. They can work in front of a new crowd. They can, hone their craft. And man, we weren't disappointed in the very first Fusion match we ever had. It was Connor Crunk and Diego De La Cruz, and man, they were told to set the bar high. Those guys made that bar high as hell. It was hard for guys to outdo that match, but I'm thankful to those two, man. And look at now, Diego De La Cruz is now one half of the tag team champions with Jonathan Vega.
Yeah.
So it's just awesome.
And we talk about talent too, but Texas has, I think, some of the strongest training programs anywhere in the United States. You couldn't look for better training schools just about anywhere, because you've got Booker T, you've got Hybrid, you've got the DFW Academy, you've got all these places, you got TASW. I know. Yeah, I personally know a lot of the young up and coming talent from Texas All-Star are really fun to watch. Really, really talented dudes. So
I don't like Johnny Badgate.
Oh, you don't like Johnny? It's not Johnny time in your household?
No, it's never Johnny time over here. Me and Johnny got beef, man. We got serious beef with each other.
Yeah, I'm hoping to do an interview with Johnny and ask him why he never trains legs. So there's plenty of guys over there. Yeah, there we go. There's plenty of guys over there with tons of talent. You've got Johnny, you've got Stevie, you've got Jay Davis, you've got Antoine. All those guys are just fun as hell to watch and just growing leaps and bounds every day, or at least I assume they were before the plague hit.
Yeah, speaking of all those guys, Antoine, man, I have the most respect for him. You would never know unless you really know him what he goes through, and he had a dream and he's following it. And that guy right there, man, he has all my respect, all the respect from me in the world, because he's proven it, man, that when you got a dream and you want it bad enough, nothing will stop you.
Yeah. Just an all around good dude, really is.
Yeah, really is. So and the Fusion division, it was going to be taken off this year. Now it's, again, we have 10 schools involved, and you named some of them schools that are involved, and there's some that you didn't name, and they're all on the page. And I'm just, I'm excited for those. I'm excited to see what that combination is going to be when you mix these different schools and what they know and what, as perspective of their trainer to another trainer, and what the students can do in there. And then you see how that blends together, and you get to see the difference of styles. That's what a hybrid division really is, a mixture of styles. So I'm really excited for the Fusion division coming up. That's a really big thing, and that's an event that I know we're discussing as well, an all Fusion event. So we'll see all the schools bring in their best top student and see what they got, and that's going to be something really special.
Yeah, and you can't overstate how good of a training exercise that is for those students too. The kind of experience and the kind of learning curve that they're going to be able to adapt to by, this division really will probably do more for their development than anything at this point in their careers. And that's something that you can be proud of being a part of.
Yeah, it really is. And I say, Kevin and Booker were very instrumental with, when I talked to them about it. I can't leave out Bob Murphy in that. And,
Yeah.
I can't leave Bob out. Bob as well. Bob was, really big on it as well, and the idea, and so was Richard Cranium, first, and Hurricane Pro, Chris Hybrid. I mean, Chris Marvel, geez Louise. Lou Gotti, Starrett, Rudy Boy Gonzalez, and the creation of it, coming into it, we were getting it ready. We just had already some strong momentum because of Hybrid, because of DFW, because of Bro and Hurricane and All Star from when we first had attempted it. And the first formula wasn't right, and it needed to be tweaked, And when we tweaked it, we added more of the schools to get them in there. That's where it really blended now. Now we know we have this capability of 10 schools. So you're going to get the best students of each school to see what they got. And, I'm hoping that opens up a lot of people's eyes in their local areas and says, you know what, man, this guy looked great. He was awesome. I'm not far from that school. I'm going to go train. I want to be into it. So I want to not only help the worker that's coming out into the future of the business, but I want to help the schools as well. I want to promote the school. I want to promote the trainer, because it's not just what the student does. It's what they've learned from their trainer, the way their trainer is, what he's taught them. And That's a very big thing,
In that way, it feels very much like a martial arts tournament, where you're competing for the honor of your dojo. And I think that it's going to be one of those things where it can build not only some interesting characters, but but it can build some interesting storylines down the road. Because there's just so much potential there, and it definitely, being on the inside, I have a different perspective of it, but also as just a huge, gigantic fan of wrestling, it's something that excites me to see the young up-and-comers having something to do, something to shoot for, something that gets them involved and gives them their own piece of the pie. Because I feel like a lot of times, sometimes an exhibition match is just an exhibition match, but it looks like what you and Booker and all of the other training schools are doing it's really something that, I hate to be cliche, but it's revolutionary.
Yeah, we're trying to be. That's the goal, of trying to be revolutionary, doing something different. That's the big goal. And I really want to see that division, finally get its just due. I want people to see it. So, I mean, my heart is hurting because, man, I miss wrestling. and I know every worker out there misses it. But what hurts me the most is that so many great ideas that were there, that were getting into there to get ready for this Fusion show, to prepare for Rise of Vixens 2. Canceling the shows that were coming up, man, that was a heartache, because it's so difficult, and there's so much great talent that was on that last card, and we couldn't produce that card. And I was excited for it. I know a lot of people were excited for it. And when it stepped away, when this happened, I was like, well, maybe there's a way we can still do this somehow. Let's think of an idea. Can we really pull this off? Is it really going to be over? And, sadly, it took everyone to convince me, hey, bro, let's just not run it right now. And you were one of them, too. Hey, let's hold off. Like, man, this is not cool. I don't want to hold off. I want to do this. This card is,
That was the most painful thing, because, like you said, the card was amazing. We had all of this amazing talent. We had a show that we were ready to put on, that we wanted people to see, and then just hand of God. There's no other way to put it. It was unavoidable, and it was the right thing to do. And I think that one of the things that I judge a lot of companies on is how they're willing to present themselves at this point. Do they care more about making a quick buck, running a show whenever it's not safe, or do they care about building, a relationship with their fans into the future? And I think that, RWR made the right call in postponing that and making sure that whenever we do come back, it's with the right mindset, with the right card at the right time in the right place.
Yeah, exactly. And, like I said, we're going to come back when. Right now, only time will tell, because everything with this pandemic, it hurt a lot of people. It's hurt a lot of people. And, I don't want to rush into it and be like, yeah, we're back, we're doing a show, and then all of a sudden everything goes downhill again. It has to be the right time.
Yeah.
It has to be safe, not only for the performers that are in that ring, who already put in their bodies on the line and everything. It's got to be safe for the fans. It's got to be safe for all them, for every man, woman, and child that pays for a ticket to go watch a show. So, I mean, that's the hardest part, is when is the time the right time? So, when it is, we'll be back. And trust me, we got ideas. We have ideas.
Yeah, I know that's one of the things that keeps me sane is your random phone calls with like, hey, I got an idea. What do you think of this? Because then I'm able to get excited about something, which is kind of hard to do right now. It's kind of hard to get excited about anything, but then you'll call me up with a crazy idea, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I do need to wake up tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, those crazy ideas, man. I gotta thank the smart Jaime for a lot of those, man. Some of them ideas, it's he rubbed off on me a little bit, and so I kind of try to think, a little bit out of the box sometimes, and it's just so hard because some ideas are amazing, and you're just like, yeah, man, I can't do it right now. Shit, I gotta think when's the right time to do it.
Yeah, but I mean, at least your ideas are doable. Jaime is just your ideas, but everything's on fire.
Yeah. Hey, be ready, man. We're gonna do a bonfire match soon. That's the next goal, a bonfire match.
Oh man.
Floating wrestling ring. We're gonna float it over in a pool. Battle royal.
Oh man, and we shouldn't have given that one away.
Yeah, we could have given that idea away. Dang it.
Oh man.
There we go. We'll see that happen in a couple of weeks with a company up somewhere in California, probably.
Probably. Somebody's got some kerosene. They'll make it happen. Oh
yeah,
man.
Buddy.
Yeah. Oh well, it's been good talking to you, Scott. I'm gonna let you go. It's been we're kind of hitting the limit of what I can stay up for.
Oh yeah, bro. I'm on the same level, brother. Trust me.
All right. Well, it was good talking to you. I'm looking forward to whenever we do get everything back up and running again. A lot to be excited about.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There is.
All right.
All right, brother. Take it easy, man. Thank you.
You too. Thanks. I will talk to you again soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.